right? Generally, constructor is going to be used for injections, and whatever initialization logic that we have written in the constructor, we should not write in the constructor actually. So constructor we have to leave it for constructor. For constructor we have to leave it for injections, object injections. Whatever different objects that you have, you can inject those objects into the constructors. Right, suppose we have taken so many services, right? Yeah, let me open one of the code. Okay, this is also required, this is also required. We'll do one thing. Let us open one another window, and I would like to new window, and in the new window I would like to open the code, examination code. There I will show you, I will tell you what is initialization logic. Initialization means page required data, data required for the given HTML given page. If I go to any examinations like examination like yeah, let us look at it. So this is, we are using, what is this guys, this constructor we are using it for, okay, so injections, right? We have to use like this. We are injecting router. Injecting means injection is doing by Angular. Whatever objects you required for this particular class, okay, the constructor is, if you provide these properties, what required properties, required object references in the constructor, then Angular automatically they are going to get Angular is going to inject these objects. Angular will inject these objects if you provide it. So constructor is meant for injections. One another thing is constructor is not related to Angular lifecycle hooks. Constructor is not related to Angular lifecycle hooks. This is related to object. This class, actually this class is related to TypeScript. This class is related to TypeScript. TypeScript class is being used by Angular. Angular framework is going to use this object. Of course, Angular framework is going to create our object, and then it is going to provide, okay, it is going to provide objects that you have provided inside the constructor. This can be called as injections. This can be called as injections actually. Fine. When we are talking about these injections, okay, private router. So now you cannot inject any object in other places. You can inject only within the constructor. Right? Now, what are the lifecycle hook of ng init? Yeah, let us go to the another example. Examination list tables. Okay, is this examination? See here, within the constructor, we are injecting all these things. Also, what we are doing, we are getting the information. What kind of information we are getting? Selected exam ID. We are reading this information. See here guys, we are getting all the questions by the examination. Where we are doing it, all this code we are doing inside the constructor, but writing this kind of code. Yeah, what is the purpose of this code? This code is going to get ready with the data, which data is going to be displayed within the examination HTML. Before user perform anything, before user performing something, before anything, he is doing something, right? Click or sort whatever actions that he want to do, before doing actions itself, it has to go to the backend, it has to fetch the information, and we need to set that information in the UI. You need to set the information in the UI. All right. So that's why basically this logic is initialization logic, means whatever data we required for this component, we are getting it. Yeah, this logic is going to be executed not based on the user actions. If user clicks on something on this page, the data is going to be read. No, it's not like that. According to this particular component, when component is loading, this is also going to the backend and fetching the information. But writing this logic here is not suggestible. This is constructor. This is, this constructor is going to be called at very first time. At very first time, at that moment, this data will not be available, guys. Whatever data injection, okay, when this data is going to be, if we have input data available, assume if we have input data available, if it is something like input data, this input data is available when after construction is executed, after constructor is getting executed, next it is going to inject these values. If you want to use this okay, if you want to use this particular value which is injected by other component, cannot be used in the constructor. Why? Because this input value is going to injected after the constructor. So that's why this kind of logic is not suggestible to write. Of course, here we are assigning the value, but we are not using any value, and we don't have any input variables in this component. If we have input data, then this data cannot be accessed. I will show you yesterday's example. Let us go to the yesterday's. I am telling you now how to use constructor, way to write our logic, what kind of logic is better, which place. I'm explaining you. Please follow these instructions. This is in constructor, right? If we have the properties, yeah, suppose assume these properties are available with us. Okay, no problem. Wherever you want, you can take it. I just have provided. Now, if I try to provide console.log, I want to print a current date. Actually, this data is going to be this dot data. This data is coming from other component. We are assigning the value. So this data is available. Is this data available? Okay, now the same thing I am going to provide here in the ng on changes, ng on init. Yeah, see here, guys. Now let us go to if you see this, yeah, let us look at it, guys. What happened now? Within the constructor, values are undefined. Yeah, values are undefined. This dot date, okay. Anything is missed here? Oh, that's it, right? Anything wrong here? Sure. This dot date. No, 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 not this dot date. Variable is current data. Hmm? Current date. This is data. Okay, yeah. All right, yeah. So that's why if you observe carefully here, undefined, undefined. In the constructor, if you observe carefully, this is going to be undefined. This is in constructor, undefined or undefined, meaning that these values will not be available. I mean input values. If you provide like this, it will be available. If I say date, this will be available. Why? Because this value is assigning at the time of object creation itself. Before calling constructor itself, this is going to get executed and date will be, this current date is going to be assigned with one object. Now we are talking about which properties. I am talking about the values coming using input. This data will not be available at the time of constructor. Why? Because first constructor is going to get executed, then these properties are input values are injected. Yes, next this is going to get it. Yeah, these values, whatever values coming from the input, they will be available here, guys. They are available. Okay, yeah. See here, guys. Yeah. Why this undefined is coming means, okay, here also, if you go to app component, we have taken just date. We did not initialize this date, and we are passing as it is date. Here in the app component, we are passing as it is. Yeah, here as it is we are passing. We did not initialize this data in the app component. If we initialize this new date, yeah, of course, we are verifying the component of this one. App component data is going to be assigned to HTML. This date is going to be assigned to current date, data title. App component 1 and title 1. This is a property we are assigning. Now, if you come to here, right now, yeah, by default, yeah. See here, guys. Now we are getting these values. This is sample 1. This is the data. That's fine. But here in the constructor, we will receive no data. That's why always suggestible is within the constructor, we should not write initialization logic. If sometime we depend on this input data, the data will not be available here. So now where is the right place to provide initialization logic? Right? Yeah, initialization logic we can write. Yeah, the data is available where? Yeah, first of all, check it out. In which methods are available here? Ng on changes. Data is available in ng on changes. Ng init. Yeah. First, from ng on changes onwards, this data is available. This data is available from ng on changes. Apart from constructor, from here onwards, the data is available. Now, again, one point we came to know that these property input values will not be available in the constructor. So because constructor is going to call before injection, yeah, input values are going to be assigned after the constructor, so these values cannot be used. Better write after the constructor. Then data is available ng on changes, and data is available in ng on init also. Now, okay, I am asking you to write logic in the ng on init. Why not in on ng changes? We have to know this particular point. Interview point of view, this is very, very important. That's why I'm giving you very clearly. ng changes ng on init. Actually, ng on init for initialization. Why can't we use on changes? For this also, we have a reason. If you write logic, say second point, guys, this is first point, we came to know that. Second point, where to write what kind of logic means there is very good reasonality here. I am asking you to not to write on ng changes. Why? Because this logic is going to get executed. This logic is going to get executed multiple times. For every time you apply the changes, every time you apply the value change, whenever you do some changes, this logic is going to get executed. For example, see, all values are provided, right? If I change the properties, see here, guys, ng changes executed. If I change these values, ng changes comes. Every time these methods are, 3 methods are there, right? Of course, 4 methods are there. One more method we have to discuss, change detection method. That particular ng changes method is executing every time, right? Actually, what is meant by initialization logic? Initialization means happens only one time, meaning that this page is going to get data. This page is going to get the data. Whenever it tries to get the data from backend, it will get the data. It will get the data. Okay, it will get the data only once. If you write logic inside the ng on changes, you can imagine every time it will go to the backend and it will get the data, which is burden. Performance is going to be degrade unnecessarily. Whenever you are writing logic, these kind of methods, ng on changes, ng after content check, ng after view check, or ng change detect, another method. There are 4 methods are there. These 4 methods will be executed for every change. For every small change, these methods are going to get executed. If you write any logic inside this method, this is heavy logic. Why? Because multiple times it is going to get executed. Every time change detected, automatically these methods are going to get executed. You should not write heavy operations inside these methods. You should not write heavy operations. Okay, going to the backend is heavy operation. That's why we are initializing. Initializing means only once it should be executed. That's why we need to write our logic. We need to write our logic, this kind of logic, in the ng on init method. Ng on init. See here, guys, that's why on init implementation. Ng on init, right? Yeah, let me take ng on init method. I'm going to modify this ng on init. See, whatever logic that we have. Okay, see here from where this is. From here, right? Okay, one second. From here to here, we have to provide this kind of logic ng init. We need to say this, right? So that's how we have to change, guys. This logic will be executed only once. This logic will get executed after the constructor. This logic is going to execute it after properties input values got injected. Okay, so this is going to be something like what? This is the constructor. Constructor is for what purpose? Injection purpose. This is the right place to provide injections. And init is what is the purpose? Initialization logic. Whenever you are writing anything inside the ng on changes, you have to be very careful. Why? Because for every change, this logic is going to get executed. Fine. There are 4 methods are there. Every time they are going to get executed. This is one, and ng after content check. This one too, and after view check. Yeah, there are 3 things are there, right? What are the 3 things now? Yeah, you have, if you want to remember all this life cycle, this is very easy, guys. Of course, there is one another method is there. I will talk about it. Okay, little bit after this discussion. Any component is nothing but it's a class, TypeScript class. TypeScript class also it's like a Java class. So TypeScript class is related to web. Web means like HTML, CSS. Okay, this is related to HTML for those classes. So within the TypeScript, you are writing any class means you are going to write a few things. Properties. Okay, properties. Okay, properties. Next, properties. Next, whenever you see this property, next methods will be having, right? Normally, any class means will be like this. If I take class, it will be like this, property and constructor. You know about it. These are the basic things that we have in a class. Right. Yeah. Now, if you take component class, okay, if you take component class, properties means component class properties sometimes will be input properties. Properties can be sometimes input properties, right? Input properties. And component is going to be called by using selector. Then we'll have content. We'll have content. Content, you know what is content? Yesterday we were talking about. In between, this is a selector, right? In between the selector, starting and ending, whatever data you are providing, this can be called as content. So a component can have content also. A component can have content also. If it is normal class, these things will be available. Along with these things, component class will have these extra things, content, properties, input properties. You can say input properties. Yeah, let us say input properties. Okay, this can be called as input properties. And content. And coming to see input properties, content. Next one is view. View means HTML. HTML is going to be displayed. HTML is going to be displayed, guys. Okay. Based on these three things, life cycle methods can be, okay, remember, guys. Okay, these can be remembered. Of course, you know constructor. Constructor is not related to life cycle. Constructor is not going to related to constructor. Yeah. Wait. Let me tell you, guys. Let me tell you. Okay, few things. How can we remember these methods? I'm explaining you. So along with these things, you can remember. First one is properties related. Properties are going to be injected. Okay, what is that? That is going to be something like ng changes. You can say these methods are ng changes. These are the after immediately, changes. Okay, changes, ng on changes. Properties are related to where is that? Sorry, where we are writing the code, right? Yes, here ng changes. This properties, ng changes after the properties. Every time after properties, ng changes is going to be provided. Now if you want to initialize any properties, for example, let us go to the code. See here, guys, what we are doing. We are initializing. We are writing initialization logic and we are reading the data and then we are assigning to these properties. See here, guys, here we are not assigning to input. Okay, even you can assign the input also. And for data source also, for this property also, we are assigning. See here, guys, we are reading the data from backend and we are assigning it. All right, yeah. We are initializing the data. Initialization logic means properties are going to be get initialized after execution of this one. Ng init is going to be get called. So this is going to executed when it is going to get executed at the time of properties injection, input properties, and we can write our own logic. Okay, and we can read the data and then we can set the properties. Right, these are the two methods. Ng init. Initialization means properties are going to can be initialized based on our logic. Now content. Now content related, whenever content is initialized, when content is set first time, then that can be called as ng after content init. Ng after content init. Ng after content init. This is executed only once because you see here init means only executed. Okay, in between at the runtime, when any values are going to get changes, any content is going to be changed, then after ng content, ng after content check, ng after content check, this method is going to be called every time. Ng after content init. Sorry, content init call. What is that? Content init, content check, content check, content check. Ng after content check. These two methods are related to content. These two methods are related to properties. Next, coming to the view, means total view. that component contains HTML, right? Totally, whatever HTML that we have here, whatever HTML that you have, that HTML is going to be converted into view to display, right? For that, it is also having ng after view, ng after view in it. Ng after view in it. This is going to be the class, and this is going to be component class. See here, this is going to be the component class, and this is going to be the class. This is something like this. Okay. When we see this, when you remember these three things, that's fine. You can remember all these 6 methods. Extra 2 methods are there. Finally, it is going to be destroyed. Destroyed method. And for extra, one more thing is change detection. Sometimes if anything is not identified by the Angular, which few things are there, few things may not identify, okay, by the Angular. If you want to write your own custom logic, you can write those logic, custom logic. Okay, suppose you want to change some, user has provided some data. Okay, so something like you have done it. Okay, I will come to that, guys. I will come to that. I will take that method and I'm going to talk about it. So first focus on these 6 methods. ng init is going to get called one time. ng on changes is going to get called multiple times. Every time properties changes. And this is for input properties. These are input properties. These are, you can assign any value, not only input property, any value. We are going to write backend logic. Normally backend logic, that can be any other logic also, guys. So the same way, this is related to content init, one time executed. This is multiple times executed. Every after changes happens to the content, this method is going to get called. So whenever you are writing logic related to ng on changes or this method you have to be very careful. Why? Because these 3 methods are going to get executed every time, right? Now let us discuss one another method, change detection method. That is ng do check. Yeah, this is also ng do check is also executed multiple times. This is this method is going to get executed after ng changes, every after ng on changes. So why this method is existed means, if you want to write, something, see here, right, detect act upon changes that Angular cannot or won't detect on its own. If it is not able to identify the changes, okay, if Angular won't find any changes, so normally binding, right? Binding means what? If you change something, automatically, if you change property, automatically, okay, it will be detected. Okay, change will be detected. Automatically change will be detected. By using all these methods, ng binding or two-way binding and all. After finding out the changes, then according to the changes will be affected. that K may be two-way binding or one-way binding. All these bindings are going to be happen because of change detection. If change detection is not identified by the angular, okay, then okay, how can we find out? Means yes, we can write our logic. We can write our logic where do check. Do check in whatever ng changes we have, right? After finishing that, this method is going to get called ng do check. This do check is going to get executed after ng on changes. Every change detection, guys. For every change detection, it is going to be right. So multiple times it is going to get executed. Whatever logic you are writing inside this do check also very costly. This is also costly operation. Okay, that's why we have to be very careful. See, example code is also available here. Let us go there. We are going to take like this. Say, yeah, this property name and old property name. We have two different properties. If they are changed, if they are, see here guys, if they are okay not equal, then meaning that this is the changes. See here guys, but actually what Angular can identify? Angular can identify, this is one object actually. Inside the object, that object is modified or not, only it is going to identify. But here we are identifying, see here guys, we are writing logic. Object here changed and this object also changed. So Angular don't know, because this is our own logic. This is business logic. Inside this object, there is a method called, there is a property, right? This property value and this particular property value, if they are different, okay, if they are different, okay, then they are going to get modified. This dot hero dot name, this dot this one, if they are not okay equal, yeah, meaning this is our logic, because Angular don't know to compare these two things. We are identifying that change is happen. Okay, if changes happen, whatever logic you want, you can do it. But these two things cannot be identified by, this is our logic, and based on this logic, if this value and this value different, then we can identify this. So this is our logic basically. If you want to provide our own changes, then we are going to use which method? ng do check. ng do check. Okay, ng do check for custom change detection. For custom change detection, we are going to use ng do check, guys. So this is also costly method only. Why? Because this logic is also going to get executed, and extra methods can be provided like this. ng destroy is going to be called at the time of object destroy. Object, okay, when it is getting destroyed, then this method is going to be called. Object is removed. When object is going to be removed? Okay, whenever object moves, okay, when we are moving from one component to another component, so this component is going to be destroyed. Current component is going to be destroyed. Whenever we come to this component again, new component object is going to be created. In navigation, we can see this destroy method, guys. Fine. Before going to that, I would like to show you some examples. Let us go to, I was doing some experiment with different examples. So there is something, don't worry about this code. You don't need to write this kind of code. Yeah, because I was doing some experiment previously. Okay, just, okay, see here, there is I want to create some links like this. Okay, this is one code, guys. Okay, if I provide, yeah, see here, there is some kind of, links I have created like this, so that it's a kind of mind map. It's going to be something like mind map related, okay, POC, proof of concept. This can be called as proof of concept. For that, we have created like this. Okay, see here, guys. For while implementing this code, okay, while implementing this kind of logic, while implementing this kind of logic, here these, okay, items are going to be created dynamically. Whenever this is one div object, I have to create a div object dynamically. So if I create, I don't know how many object user need. If another one needs, he's going to create another one, and he can provide, some, okay, you can, he is going to select like this, and then he is going to arrange however you want, he can arrange it. Okay, so he is going to do like this. Okay, fine, he is going to do like this. Fine, guys. When they are doing like this, we are creating this kind of components. We are creating this kind of components. It's not, yeah, we may call it as a component, draggable component, and we are creating dynamically. We are creating dynamically when we user clicks on this one item, and we are creating a line between these two items. Okay, okay, whenever user select it, and means that is dynamically. So these things are happening dynamically. Fine. Okay, these things are going to happen dynamically. Fine, guys. Okay, once after having this, this one, yeah, let us look at it, guys. The next step is, the next step that we need to do here is, I would like to show you the code when I create this component, how it looks like, and then there is a need for after ng view, ng content, something like this. Okay, let us go to the code. I have used somewhere, let me, I have written this code long back. Yes, see here, guys. Now I have written this logic in ng after view check. Okay, this logic is executed after ng view checked. Why view check? If any view is changed, okay, view is changed, then we need to execute this logic. See here, guys, we are creating some line. Okay, don't think about this code exactly. Why? Because it is, this is, I have used different APIs and all, so you don't need to worry about it, but just understand what is the purpose of this ng view check. Now whenever user clicks on that particular element, what element it is, okay, ng new. Okay, if I create ng new, and then after creating the element, then I'm going to draw the line. I'm going to draw the line. First I'm going to create the element. See, this is going to be the element. Then I'm going to draw the element. When I have created this element dynamically, so this view is basically, okay, this view is created and this view got updated, and I have used in different approach like get element away. Yeah, see here what I will do. If I say on click get by id, add item, see something, there is some logic available. There is a div model. I have created one div model into, okay, something div push and all. So I have provided some data for this. This is one div object. I set this div object like this. I have created like this div object. Okay, once I have created this div object, then what I am trying to do here is use this div. Okay, use this particular div. Okay, I have added. Next, what I need to, if I click on this one, okay, what is this item? If I go to the HTML part, maybe like I will go to the HTML part. Here this is already okay, app HTML. If I go to app component.html, this is app component HTML. Okay, go to app7 app7.html. Okay, right, you see here when we are creating create line. Okay, so go to the method called create line. Let us go to the create line method. I will go to the create line method. Okay, where is the create line? Yeah, see here create line. Yes, see here create line. We have created the line actually. So see here between two objects, we are going to get the two objects. In between which objects we are getting like this dot document dot get element by id. Using this object, one object, second object, in between these two objects we are creating one line. Okay, we are creating add to array or add to line to array, something, some logic we have provided and we have created it, guys. Okay, something we have written some logic and then we have created whenever. Okay, so this logic, if I, yeah, now once after providing this logic, you, yeah, whatever content that we have, you know, one more method we have provided, right? If that method is not available on changes, there is a, okay, there are heavy logic is available in this slash. Okay, now I have to go to which method, ng changes, view changes. After view changes, okay, ng init, yeah, where is that? After view init, yeah, see here guys, now here we are creating these lines. Okay, we are writing this logic, guys. Why? Because it will be available that whatever objects we have created objects will be available only ng after view init, guys. After displaying the view, then only we can read this data. If you observe carefully, a dot start get element by id. Okay, these objects, you know, yeah, because Angular cannot identify these objects, you know, earlier. After creating the objects, when we are creating views dynamically, when we are working with the dynamic, okay, object creations and all, then this ng after view init is going to get executed. If you want to work with ng content, after executing the content, if you want to write any logic, then you have to use ng content, ng, okay, after content init. This is initialization. And then, okay, view. Okay, even sometimes if you want to execute the same logic, what you have to do, ng after view, not content, ng after content, ng view, ng after view, checked. You can use those method also. Okay, provide this ng change into, and what you can do, ng change after content check. You can provide this logic. Okay, and I'm going to remove this after init. I will take content check. ng after content check. See, this logic is going to get executed every time. Okay, this logic is going to get executed every time now. If I provide this, okay, now, so if you provide ng content in it, only one time is going to get executed, but okay, only one time. If you provide ng content, this one, it is going to get executed multiple times. Okay, this is where we have used like this. I don't want to change. I want to let this code as it is. Okay, now, so these things, ng after view init is going to be very useful when you are creating, okay, dynamic when you are creating HTML dynamically, when you are creating HTMLs dynamically. Fine, guys. So this is going to be something like, so if I refresh it, yeah, see here, guys, if I refresh it, whatever code that I have created is going to be lost. Okay, there is no component I have created, it will not be available. For that, I need to implement again separately for that, and then we need to do something. So there are other components. Okay, yeah, of course, this is a big logic that it has internally. Let it be, guys. So now, when we are creating dynamic things, dynamically, when you are creating any HTMLs, there it will be, okay, useful, guys. There the ng content, ng view init, after view init, after view checked. These methods are going to be used when you are using such kind of dynamic HTMLs and all. All right, destroyed. I'm going to show you destroy method practically, because destroy method is not going to be called automatically. Okay, so automatically it will, yeah, before going to that, okay, it will not be called actually. Yeah, I will show you how to display destroy logic in the, okay, next sessions, guys. This is about basic. Yeah, you can think about, now you can get clear idea what is life cycle hooks, what kind of logics we can provide. These are the methods that we have. Remember, properties, content and view. Related to properties, ng changes, ng init. Content, this is very easy, ng after content init, ng after content check. View, ng after view init, ng after view check. So other methods are destroyed method, this is going to be ng do check. If you want to, okay, this method is going to be called, if you want to remember the order, this is going to be called here itself, ng do check. This is also similar to this kind of methods, but this method is for, okay, to write our own logic, to identify our own detections, our own changes. Means that Angular don't know our business logic. Suppose one person has, okay, provided, yeah, I want to provide a kind of logic, a kind of validation. What kind of validation means? User entered, okay, he has to transfer 1,000 rupees minimum. He has entered 999. So then we have to show one error saying that user has changed this. Whenever user applied the change, immediately we have to display the, immediately we have to display the error. We need to identify that value got changed. After identify, the validation is not known to the user, known to the Angular. Why? Because Angular can detect only changes but not our business logics. Our business logic is minimum 1000 rupees. If less than 1000, then it will be okay. So it will be error. Otherwise, no error. So whatever changes, yeah, we need to compare. Suppose 1000 rupees also is available in another variable. Now we need to compare these two values. User entered value and the value already we set minimum value, minimum transfer. Minimum transfer is coming from backend, assume that is available in one property. User is entering some other value. If these values are, we can provide our own custom check, custom checks can be provided inside the do check. But make sure that whatever code you are writing in ng do check, ng after this one, or you can provide, yeah, okay, in order wise. First it is going to call, okay, for this method, this method, this method. These four methods are going to get called, okay, every time for every single thing. That's why the logic that is available inside these methods should be very carefully written. Fine. So this is basic information about lifecycle hooks. Wherever your logic suits, you can choose the methods. All right. Yeah. Yeah. When you are writing code ng init, there your logic, remember that the view is not already okay initialized, and content is also not initialized. Okay, that's why you cannot use this kind of values in the ng init even, right? So that kind of things you have to remember. That's why the order is important. Order is also important. See, this is first this one, ng on changes, ng init, do check, after content init, okay, after content check, after view init, after view check. At runtime, after executing once, these four methods are going to keep executing again. Whatever for every change, these four methods are going to get executed. So whatever method is suitable for you to write your own logic, these methods are going to be helpful for you. Okay, we'll see a few other examples in the next step. We'll discuss destroy method also in the next sessions, guys. I'm going to show you, okay, about destroy also. In the destroy, we have to write our own logic also, actually, where we can write our destroy. That is going to be helpful. Okay. Fine, guys. I started recording. ng class equal to check. What is this ng class? ng class is a property. ng class is going to be the property, and this is going to be the check. What is this? This is going to be something like hello, how are you? You are saying something, hello, how are you? This is the value. This is going to be the value. It is going to be displayed, and with this check. And what is this ng class means? Finally, directive. It can be called as directive. Can you create your own directive? Absolutely, yes. We can create our own directive. But what is the difference between directive and component? Means component contains, here guys, component contains class, HTML, CSS. But directive contains only class. No, it is not going to create new HTML. It is not going to use CSS. New CSS. Okay, you can, if you are creating component, means you can have class, HTML, CSS. Whenever you say directive, means only class. We say this, it is going to be something like, yes, ng if, ng styles, ng for, all these things are styles only. They can be called as directives. They all can be called as directives. They don't have view, but what they are going to do is, these directives can use existing HTML, existing CSS. They are going to manipulate existing HTML, CSS, but they are not going to provide new HTML, new CSS. I'm going to show you examples, guys. Okay, I'm going to provide one example. How to create component, I will tell you. We are in, okay, let us go to the code. Okay, here in terminal, I have opened the terminal. So you don't need to be source. Okay, now create ng generate, instead of component provide directive or D. What is the directive? Sample. Say it is going to create a directive. Directive contains only, okay, so selector and the class, it contains only class, no HTML, no CSS, only the class. It contains only the class. Right, see here guys, it has created only directive.ts, and then this is related to what? This is related to unit testing. That's fine, you don't need to worry about this class. You have to worry about this one. And then whenever you create this directive, here guys, it got updated in the app module. It got updated in the app module. If you go to app module, whatever new directive it has created, see the same way how component is provided, how they are going to be declared, right? The same way sample directive is also provided. Okay, that's good. That's fine. Now let us go to the directive. Where is the directive? Where we have created the directive, sample directive. Yeah, this is the directive. If I open this, see here guys, it contains here app sample. Okay, app sample. That's it. No HTML is available. No CSS is available here. Only selector it contains. Fine guys, it contains like this. Now, if you have any logic, reusable logic, which is not related to, okay, which is not related to HTML, not related to view, okay, only it contains logic, then the logic can be worked with this sample directive and all that. Okay, this can be, you can take directives. If we have reusable component which has HTML CSS means, then we have to use component. You have reusable code which doesn't relate it to HTML CSS, then we can create component. For example, so this is a directive, right? So existing directive, what is the existing directive that we are using? Ng class you are using, right? Whenever you say ng class equal to check, ng class equal to check, okay, this is going to be the directive. This directive is applying the CSS for existing component, existing HTML. That's all. This is going to manipulate the existing, that this also contains no extra information. Internally, ng class doesn't have any HTML or doesn't have any CSS. Whatever CSS you are providing, that CSS is taking and then it is setting into this particular HTML. Okay. So the main difference, I'm going to tell you, I'm just giving introduction today. I'm going to give you more examples tomorrow. What is the class we are, what is the difference between directive and component? Means directive is reusable logic, which logic is doesn't included HTML, CSS, then we are going to use directive. But coming to component, that is also reusable. You can write one component can be reused throughout the application wherever you want. You can use those components wherever you want. That particular component is related to what? That component is going to relate to what? HTML and CSS. View logic is also available. Then we are going to write component. Fine.